With us now to discuss is criminal defense attorney Mark O'Mara and former federal prosecutor Alyse Adamson. Thank you both for being with us. Let's first start out with the verdict that the jury reached. Alyse, what's your reaction to these acquittals? Were you surprised?
Yeah, well, in the totality, I actually was not surprised because from day one, a lot of us in the legal community were asking ourselves, was this an overcharge? And this was a very novel use of the RICO statute, this RICO conspiracy. It's a very technically complicated statute, and the underlying facts could be perceived as confusing to the jurors. And so, wondering whether or not it would resonate with a jury. Similarly, with the sex trafficking, these were individuals who had been in long-standing relationships with Combs. So there was a thin line between consent and coercion, a thin line that, of course, the defense exploited very effectively on cross. So not surprised by this outcome because there were always questions. A little bit surprised in light of the deadlock note we saw last night. We know that at least some jurors were still considering convicting on the RICO as late as last evening. So much of the corrupt enterprise under the government's theory of the case really was threaded or intertwined with this concept of sex trafficking. So I found it surprising that the jury had already voted to acquit him on both charges of sex trafficking while still considering the RICO. So I found the sequencing of this surprising, but not the overall outcome.
Yeah, no, that's a really interesting point, Alyse. And Mark, we spoke throughout the last several weeks, and the question we would ask you every week was, how is the prosecution doing on proving racketeering? So I wonder if there were any surprises to you and what you thought about the defense's strategy and calculations here and what worked for them.
Sure. As to the RICO prosecution, again, I remember talking and I said, they've got to start putting the pieces together. Where are the pieces of the RICO prosecution that they're doing? It just seemed weak. It seemed almost scattered. And as it turns out, the jury seemed to feel the same way because, again, we hope that the juries do what we want them to do. Look at every count individually, make sure that the state or government has proven it, each element beyond a reasonable doubt, and then conviction or not, and move on to the next. But we also have to remember that this jury is now a team, right? They are friends of sorts. They spend a lot of time together. They don't talk about the case, but they talk about family and friends and whatnot. So they have this commonality. And I think what happened here was what we sometimes call a compromise verdict. They were not going to convict Mr. Combs of these serious charges, even though some of the facts might have been sensational for a lot of us to watch. But what I do think happened with this jury is they decided to find him guilty of a couple of counts, make him responsible criminally for some of it. And I think, again, sort of a compromise verdict that we say, but the jury said, we didn't like what you did. We didn't like a lot of what you did. Here's a couple of convictions, even though they did not convict him of the RICO. And I agree with Alyse. It was interesting because no one knew what the four were when they said they already decided on four. It was interesting that what happened was they waited after non-convictions of the sex trafficking, but still really wrestling with the main count. So again, I think it was a compromise verdict, just a way to give him some responsibility.
Yeah, I want to give a context to our viewers. We just watched a number of people jump out of a Sprinter van and walk into court. Those are actually Diddy's sons. As you can see here, we're replaying this from moments ago. And again, at any moment, we're set to hear from the judge in this case as to whether Mr. Combs can walk free today and go back home to Miami to wait for sentencing, or if he's going to remain in the custody of the government. Mark, what are your thoughts on that? What is the likelihood that we're going to see Sean Combs emerge from this courthouse?
I think he should, not just because I'm a dyed-in-the-wool criminal defense attorney. When he was facing very serious charges, including life sentences, the decision to keep him, to detain him, was appropriate, I think. However, now that we know what he is facing, which is just the two counts, not only are they 10-year counts each, but the sentencing guidelines really suggest much less, maybe as little as 2 years, and maybe actually less than that because the judge had a lot of discretion. Realizing that, He's nowhere near as much of a flight risk. There's nowhere near as much danger because he was not convicted of those. I think the judge should release him with conditions, GPS monitoring, maybe even house arrest, but he should not be behind bars until a judge sentences him from today forward.